there you have it. Quite a start to the reversal. If you want to see a big rally out of a hole, this is exactly how you want to start off. We got our 5-wave impulse up, 3 waves down into the box, and we've blasted off since. This looks pretty convincing to me so far. We might actually already have a 3rd wave top based on the proportions we're looking at here. If you bought in this box down here, this is Bitcoin I'm showing, but all the cryptos have the same setup. Give yourselves a pat on the back. Well done, because even I couldn't catch that. I bought a little further up, and I'm about halfway in. So one of my 2 tranches bought and everything. I'm nibbling a bit more carefully in Ethereum, just because while I'm trying to buy a whole coin, that's a lot of cash. This is Bitcoin, and if this holds, if this continues to hold true, we already have our 1st wave up. We had a 3-wave pullback directly into our buy box, and this thing just took off all the way up to the 1.32 extension of what I'm calling the 1st wave and the 2nd wave. The only concern I have is that we went up so quickly because there's a lack of a clear subwave 1-2 that there's a small chance this is actually an ABC, a zigzag up. So this could be a C wave. So I'm not going to let that possibility escape me. It's in the back of my mind. If this is a C wave, we would see a sharp reversal, and we may fall down through the support. So again, I don't have it drawn on my chart, but it is a possibility. And on the big picture, that would be our red pattern, which is no longer primary. I don't know if I updated the captions, but that would call for a lower low. Actually, in the Bitcoin chart, it's the purple pattern, but I think it's the red pattern pretty much everywhere else. So enough of the doom and gloom. What am I expecting so far? Well, so far, this is where the confusion is. Is this actually the top of a larger 1st wave? Or is this the subwave 1 with a smaller subwave 2 coming? Or is this really the top of our 3rd wave? And if that's the case, actually going to put that pattern on there as well. Let me see. This could actually be a 3rd. So if I put that there, I'm going to color that a little differently. Let's make this, I don't know, hot pink fuchsia, whatever that color is. There's a chance that this is the 3rd wave, and we're going to have a bit of 4th wave consolidation for a few days, and then we're going to blast off past 47,000 Bitcoin. I'm going to show you guys Ethereum real quick. Now, I have these updates on all my cryptos. I'm not going to go over all the altcoins in this video. There will be many videos to come showing the specific individual setups for each altcoin that I've analyzed, but I'm just kind of showing you the overall shift in sentiment with the 2 big cryptos, and I might touch on Bitcoin, Cash, and EOS. But same setup here. We haven't extended nearly as far in Ethereum. We've actually gotten to the 0.764 extension, so it gives this possibility a bit more credibility that this is really just a larger wave 1. So maybe it's a 3, 4, and a 5 with us finishing, or at least beginning, a 2nd wave pullback. Where that could pull back, not clear. If this is actually a nested 1-2, then we should land somewhere within this box. That would be where I would buy another tranche of Ethereum. I am a little underweight in Ethereum, so I would definitely consider buying within this box. But the same applies. If you see us fall right through the box, then we might be seeing a bigger wave 2. It would align about with where this box is here. Whoops, just drag the wrong thing. So maybe down to here. If it pulls back below that, then there's a chance we do fall lower, and we do follow our alternate pattern, which is purple, not red. I misspoke earlier. So if that's the case, we could get that lower low. I don't see that as a strong possibility. And again, the reason I don't see that is because, well, we got a hell of a setup. It's exactly what you want to see when you have a big blast off coming, when the big shift in sentiment happens. And in equities, S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Russell, looks just as good, if not better. We're having a bit of a pullback. The other reason I'm expecting more of a pullback is, well, I expect to see that in equities. We've blasted off pretty good. We had a good pullback overnight. And as I mentioned in my previous video, the 2 have been tracking so closely, the equities and the cryptos complex, that if I see a pullback in one, I almost expect to see it in the other right now. That's not how it always is, and it may change. This may be the beginning of where the 2 asset classes diverge, but that's the reason why I do expect a pullback, and really it'd be a healthy consolidation. If this really is a subwave 1, I'd like to see a 3-wave pullback into this box, which would help us confirm and get our bearing straight as to where we project next. So those are Bitcoin, Ethereum. As I mentioned earlier, you look at Bitcoin Cash as well. And this one didn't extend quite as high. This is actually looking a lot more like a 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So you could actually make the argument that this is probably, maybe that's the 1, 2, or or that's the 3. That could be the subwave 3 within the 3. Nice long 4th wave, the 5th wave blow off to finish it off. It's proportionally correct. We hit just beyond the 0.61 extension of this pattern. So this would look a lot more convincing like a bigger 1-2. And that's not bad news. It just means we would expect a deeper correction. So I got my orange wave 2 down here. Maybe we fall all the way down to there again. Another great buying opportunity. If that's the case, we got a giant wave 1 and 2, so it would project a lot higher than it otherwise would. And finally, I'll look at EOS, just because EOS did pull back more harder than pretty much any of the other altcoins. So it looks pretty healthy so far. We got an impulsive waveform here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice spike here. Looks like a pretty clear flat correction here. And usually flat corrections are seen in the 4th wave. So this altcoin 2 gives us more of that perspective that this could actually be a 4th wave with the final 5th wave coming. This could be the actual larger first wave top. You wouldn't have a fifth wave coming. We already have a fifth wave in place in that case. So that is the story. We would expect more of a pullback here as well. And our standard pullback for the wave 2 would be somewhere within this box. So below the blue box. If we don't pull all the way back there, then I wouldn't expect us to go too much lower than this blue box up here, and definitely would be considering buying. And like I mentioned earlier, while Bitcoin and Ethereum are running ahead, altcoins do lag behind. I know we've had some pretty colossal rallies in some of these altcoins, but there's a lot more room overhead for most of these. I'm going to pull up Bitcoin Cash really quick just to demonstrate that. You can actually kind of see how even our projected A wave in this diagonal fifth wave, I'm sorry, zigzag fifth wave, would project all the way up to over $1,000. So even if you don't catch this until later, it's not a big deal. It doesn't make much difference. I'm going to also touch on the, for all you guys who, if you missed the buy opportunity, again, it's not too late to buy now. If you're more conservative, if you're cash strapped, there will be another buy opportunity coming because market assets don't go up straight in one leap. They are cyclical. There's pullbacks. You want to see healthy pullbacks like here in order to reset the sentiment. So I would fully expect that you get more buying opportunities. As a matter of fact, I was doing some projections the other day. Let me pull this thing up, see if I can find where I had that. So, we call this a wave 1. I would fully expect us to have a larger impulsive wave. And I did the projection the other day, probably up to the $50,000+ range. And then you have another pullback. So I'll definitely be keeping you guys updated on that stuff. There'll be several more buying opportunities. If you want to see a couple more nested 1-2-1-2s, that'll keep things exciting. So you will get more buy opportunities as you go. And it never hurts to dollar cost average. That is the safest way to invest. At some point, the risk reward will change. So right now it is safer to buy just because we are so low, and it's going to be safe to continue buying all the way up until you typically get to about where the third wave top is, one of the subwave 3s. At that point, I would say the risk reward starts to shift. It's not as safe to buy large lump sums of any crypto. You might want to wait for a pullback. And as you go higher and higher, it gets more and more dangerous just because there's less upside and there's more downside in case you have a premature pullback, anything like that. So my advice is don't panic buy. You have some chances. You can wait things out, feel it out. We'll see how things go. And if you need help deciding which cryptos to buy, how to allocate, I do have several videos on that. My risk reward score, I went over that. I've gone over the high level overview of which cryptos are ranked really well for risk versus reward. So be sure to check those out. And if you want to keep getting my updates, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, thank you for watching. And